Hi, welcome to Random Access. I am René Mendoza, and I am joined by Jim Twu, a volunteer and producer at KMVT. So hi, Jim. How did you get involved with KMVT?
About sometime in 2010, I had an itch to do a show. I saw the announcement on the cable channel 15. I saw a little scroll, and I've always seen the station because I live nearby. I always drove by back and forth, so I stopped by. I signed up for the class. I took the class. I think it's like 4 classes over a period of a month, once a week, and then after that, I started volunteering on shows, or crewing shows. And then about a month after that, I took the producer class, which I believe was one night for a couple of hours. And then waited a couple months after that, crewing more shows to see what it was like. And then I started producing my own show.
So I know you have 3 shows. One's called What the Bleep, The Right Side, and Silicon Valley Business.
Yes.
So What the Bleep, was that your first show?
Yes, it was.
And what was the premise for that? Like why that format of a panelist?
It was inspired by a show that I'd seen on the Fox News channel called Red Eye.
Okay.
And the premise of it was a panel show that talked both about serious issues and also talked about little offbeat issues, but then just tried to do it in such a way that it was somewhat serious, but also somewhat tongue-in-cheek. And so my spin on that was just just take out all the serious news shows and just talk about the off-the-beat issues, or just the non-headline stories, and just do a little bit off and just try somewhat serious, but then also not take it too seriously. Also be a little riffing, so to speak.
And then The Right Side, what is that about?
The Right Side is a more serious political talk show. It's we produce the show for the Conservative Forum of Silicon Valley, which meets in Mountain View once a month. And the premise of the show was to do a conservative themed talk show where people can talk about conservative politics. And the forum was very gracious in underwriting the show, and also after the first season, providing at least the guests that would speak at the forum once a month. And so that allowed us to get speakers that we otherwise wouldn't get. I think the most famous people that we've had, Steve Forbes.
Yep, I was there for that one.
We've had Sheriff Joe Arpaio, and I think we've had a Senator Jim DeMint. So we've had people that otherwise a community access show would not get. And I think that the show itself has been a very successful show from my expectations, because most of the host, Chris Berry, has a very good host, and we talk about issues, and as opposed to personalities as much. So I think and I believe the forum's very happy with the show too. Perfect.
So I noted that you also crew a lot of the shows. What is the most fun show you've ever worked on?
The most fun show I've ever worked on. That's an interesting question. I mean, I enjoy doing a lot of shows. The shows which are kind of zany and a little bit let your hair down, I think, are the ones that are tend to be memorable in terms of enjoyable. So I enjoy doing a show, Frack the Can, even though the host is kind of a slave driver. And he drinks backstage all the time. Yeah. So, but otherwise, it's a fun show because we all have a good time, and we all take bets at how many times the host of the show will touch his face during the course of the show.
I do that a lot.
I know.
I remember for that show, my show, Frack the Cannon, you called in as Iron Man, as Tony Stark. How was that like?
Oh, that was hysterical. I just, it was kind of a riff, and I just figured, well, it was a callback to what you said at a previous show.
Do you remember what it was? What did I say?
Oh, you said that Iron Man was a lame-ass version of Batman.
I'm sticking to that.
All right, there you go. So, I mean, it was fun to just to spoof you, to spoof the host, and to play Iron Man, and to still play within the theme of the show, which is comic book characters. Because I assume at some point, just talking about comic books could be a little tedious unless you broke it up a little bit.
Right. So, who is the most? Have there been any personality issues at the station? Everyone seems to get along. I've heard rumors, rumblings of people not getting along, but I've seen people but nothing but friendly with one another. Have you ever seen anything like that at this station, or have you heard it from any other stations?
I don't know about other stations, since I'm a one station kind of guy. I don't cheat.
Is that a poke at someone?
Monogamous. No. But I know there are certain producers that that didn't get along with each other, but it's not necessarily what happened at the station, is because outside of the station, people become friends.
Right.
I know it's kind of weird because I have no friends, but so it's really strange. But so people will hang out outside the station and then do stuff outside the station, and then as with any relationships, every now a certain percentage just kind of goes south for whatever reason. And I think there was that. I know as this station goes compared to what people tell me about what happens at other stations, most people get along.
Right.
I mean, it's for the most part, it's a volunteer. Everyone's a volunteer, other than the actual station employee that's going to be on a crew. So in order to get people to crew your show, you have to be nice to people. Because otherwise, people have other things that they can do with their time than to be yelled at or to be treated like crap. I mean, that's what people do for a job. If you do that for money, if you're getting yelled at and treated badly for nothing other than food, maybe, you're not going to come back, and you don't have a crew. So, no, I think one of the things that makes this station unique is that it does foster a community where people, even the oddest duck, and let's face it, the people, volunteers here tend to be odd ducks, but in a good way.
Yeah.
But it's a place where even the oddest piece of person can fit in and feel accepted. And I think that, and even whatever screwball, harebrained, dumb-sounding show concept, it still gets made.
Right.
And as long as you treat people nice, they'll come back. As long as no one gets hurt. As long as no one gets hurt.
So my question to you is why start? Is it a good thing to start a public access your show, or try to make it into Hollywood? Like, what would you recommend to people who want to have their own show? Like, why not YouTube? Why not Vine? Why start at a public access station and not do it on their own?
Well, most people aren't going to get to start off in Hollywood unless you're like related to someone famous, right? So for the most people, I think the advantage of a public access station over making shows straight for YouTube is that you have the facilities that can make your show look more professional. You have the lighting, you have the graphics, you have the cameras, compared to like, well, I'm filming it on my 2 iPhones and maybe using the phone mic, right? So you have the capability of producing something that looks professional, or more professional than what you would do if you just did it on some handheld camera in your garage or basement or in the street or at Starbucks, right? So it has the potential of looking something better than what you stereotypically associate with Wayne's World.
Perfect. So we're running low on time, but what about sports? I know this station covers high school sports. How was that? Like, did you ever think you would do sports? No,
I didn't, and it's a very enjoyable experience because the parents and the kids appreciate it. And shooting sports it involves a different level of involvement in your camera work, especially when you're shooting cameras. And again, you get to see your community, and I think that's an extra bonus.
What's your favorite sport to cover?
I actually like volleyball.
Why volleyball?
Because it's in terms of the strategy, you can see the strategy. I played recreationally, so I can appreciate the skill set involved. And every now and then, when you see someone spike the ball perfectly, it's just like, oh, how can I catch this? Something that takes a split second to hit the floor,
right,
before you can blink.
All right.
That's a challenge.
So we're really low, but if you could do one more show here, like, whatever you want, what would it be? Are you going to come up with a new show, or are you kind of done?
I'm hoping in the new year maybe to get a cooking show.
Cooking show. Ooh.
But we'll see if that happens or not. I have to get the cook.
This is the cook we talked about a couple of years ago.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
That everyone says, oh, we should do a show with him. It's like, well, someone's got to approach him. So we'll see if it happens.
And then you work on, everyone knows you here, so I'm pretty sure you'll be the one to get him, like, if anything. We'll
find out. Because, I don't know him, so it's like, we'll see. Friend of a friend.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you, Jim, for taking your time joining us, and we will see you next time at Random Actions. I've been René Mendoza with Jim Twu. See you next time.